So today on Decoy Noise, we're going to go over an Ask Reddit thread that says, Woman of Reddit, what's something that guys do on the first date that ticks all the boxes? So I guess today we're going to learn how to have good first dates and be a more attractive guy overall, but the first thing you need to do is subscribe to Decoy Noise down below because that's going to be the first thing any girl asks you. So, the first reply is, JJ June says, pay attention, no phones, no distractions. My current partner noticed a waiter brought me the wrong drink order. Not bad enough for me to worry about. He calmly and kindly corrected and arranged for a replacement. No fuss, no rudeness, just made sure I got what I wanted. Very sexy. Okay, so this is a guy that's very comfortable in his own skin and doesn't need to be mean to anybody, which is, hey, that's a turn on. Gladas18 says, I went on a date with an older guy and the waiter got both his drink and his food incorrect. I would have been annoyed and let it show a little, but my date was kind both times when asking for a correction. It was quite sexy how he handled the situation. I felt almost intimidated by how smoothly he handled it. Okay, so I dig that he's very, very like cool, calm, and collected or whatever. The one thing I would say though is like a big thing that a lot of girls will say like on Reddit is like, oh, how does he treat people that can do nothing for him? Like, so wait staff, his grandma, the old lady crossing the street, like is he kind to everybody or is he just kind to people that like, you know, his boss, his friends, and like potential partners, dating partners? I don't even know what to call it. Potential mates. That's almost like a weird way to put it. Okay, so Dar says, actually listening to what I have to say. My current boyfriend and I had a 12-hour first date because neither of us could stop talking. We just clicked and allowed each other to respond and actually listened. Also, a deadly sense of humor gets me every time. He told me a risky one-liner about 30 minutes into knowing me, and it paid off big time. Still haven't forgotten the grin that came along with it once I started to laugh. Okay, so just being genuinely you, not putting on a different face or a mask or doing a facade on who you are, just being unapologetically you is sexy when it works. What the Jelly Beans replied saying, what was the one-liner if you don't mind me asking? Don't Fear the Reaper says, how you doing? Okay. See, this is when Reddit just kind of falls apart. Internal Enthalpy says, listen, like really listen. Ask questions and listen to the answers. The Dragon Lake says, my biggest weakness is getting a meaningful convo going. It gets to be like an interview and I have yet to get anywhere with anyone because it feels like talking to a coworker you consider an associate friendly, but not a friend. Maybe so far I've just had no chemistry yet. Yeah, I guess one of those things where they say if you everywhere you go it smells bad, maybe you're the person that smells bad. Not going in on this Dragon Lake person, but I mean if they're saying everybody has bad conversations, maybe it's you. Lady Curb says, is polite to any staff. Looks it like they put an effort in, shows up on time, good conversation, doesn't badmouth exes, doesn't drink too much, and doesn't spend it on their phone. First ones that come to mind. So one of those things that I'll say is whenever you're getting advice on like what they want or like dating things, oftentimes like a person will just give you like, oh, they have somebody in mind or like a celebrity crush or whatever. And this is advice to a guy they already find attractive. That's what would make the date go well. But it's not good advice for someone that's not having, a guy that's unattractive that doesn't know how to have a good conversation. Oh, this advice doesn't help me at all or whatever. So I guess we're going to get kind of, I don't want to say it's like shallow advice, but it's not going to be very like extensive advice here. So Lady Guillotine says, a guy that smiles, makes me laugh, seems interested in how I'm doing, flirts but isn't overly love bombing or fake charming, is nice to the waitstaff. I actually like if there's a little nervousness shows, as long as they're able to reciprocate in the conversation. Oppressive Guy says, may I ask what the heck love bombing is? That's a new one for me. Lady Guillotine says, per Wikipedia, one of the signs of love bombing in the start of a relationship is how much attention in a short time and pressure for very rapid commitment. Okay, so, you know, the weird feeling when you're on the first date and they're like, yes, me too, wow, I agree with everything you're saying and you're so amazing. I think this really could be something special. We're the same. I want you to meet my entire family tomorrow. This is such a huge red flag when it's obviously disingenuous and way over the top. Okay. But I mean, I've had it where it's like you meet someone and you automatically have such good chemistry, but I could see how that could be very overwhelming in the start. Pratapia says, if you're on a date, then do what you are supposed to. Be interested, show who you are in the moment. Don't be preoccupied with your phone, don't get hammered, and don't assume sex. If you're on a date, you're giving up the impression you're interested. It isn't a hookup. See, a lot of this stuff is just very generic advice, but I mean, if you want some generic advice, it's to subscribe to Decoy Noise down below. We could really use it. And also drop a comment as to what you think that this thread is and my replies and all that stuff right now. This is a discussion, not just a video. LP Reddit says, thanks for the thread. I'm about to have my first date in decades and this helps. Well, hopefully it does. Throw13579 says, whatever you do, don't be rude to your waiter. Apparently that's a thing people do. Yeah, they want to feel like they're a big man and they're in charge and they can just push people around. It's like that puts off the way opposite message they initially intend for. Pete Langasta says, yeah, LOL, I was wondering the same. It has to be a serious problem if everybody is mentioning that in their replies. Yeah, some people are just jerks. Beep Borm Bob Jorp says, which boxes are we talking about here? The I must immediately make this man mine and keep him forever boxes, or this guy is gonna murder me boxes? And I heard the will of the people and given the boxes. Okay, the boxes are now yours? I don't know what any of that is. But Cat's Dice says, making eye contact during the conversation, not looking at his phone. See, this is all bare minimum stuff. Samdis Anarmeen says, I'm deeply physically uncomfortable with eye contact. Now what? Guess he's not going to have good first dates. Tall Text Guy says, my wife says being attentive. Deutzer replied saying, thought that said being attractive, like fair and to the point. Some of these replies, I don't know, man. Dogs Heaven Janet says, ask questions and be genuinely interested in my answers. Don't ask a question, then wait for your own turn to answer. Genuinely be curious about my work and my life and ask follow-up questions to show that you're really trying to understand. This shows you respect me and my experiences and knowledge, not for what I could be to you. And honest about what you love. Don't try to be cool. Your passion is about something silly or nerdy is cool. Something someone gush about, something they're really interested in, is attractive. See, I'd like to be able to pull a whole bunch of really good advice and be like, oh my god, there's so much stuff I'm learning or whatever, but it's just like a lot of the same like boilerplate stuff. A certain comrade says, I don't need sleep, I need answers. What the Jelly Bean says, I need upvotes so more people will respond. And if there's a lot of hate saying I'm karma whoring, the above statement was written when I had 2 comments. I wanted advice for a date I had planned next week and didn't think this post would blow up. Okay, so this is genuinely someone trying to learn, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of conflicting information, a lot of regular stuff, and he's just going to be super awkward throughout the date. Handle Your Scandal says, show up on time, be well groomed, but please no cologne bath. Be polite, ask questions. So many guys just blather on about themselves. Listen, don't get distracted. Offering to pay is gracious, but it's also antiquated? I don't know. And going Dutch is fine too. No surprises. Don't ask to go somewhere unplanned. It freaks us out and makes us think we may get murdered or put in a dumpster. Say what you're thinking. If you had a nice time or want to kiss us, say it. Okay. Hoopy97 says, I've always wondered how you're supposed to do, or how you're supposed to know if you should kiss at the end. I always figured no. It never occurred to me. Just ask. I'm an idiot, and you may have missed it. Thank you. LOL. I feel like all this stuff is so subjective and may not apply to these people. I have some good first date advice that I have personally from my history, so I'll say that at the end, but let's go through some more of these replies to see if we find any gems. Dramatic Fantastic says, be genuinely interested in what they have to say. The key is genuine. Like I mentioned, a topic I like. I don't want you to spend 10 miles telling me on how much you know about that thing. I want to have a proper conversation. Queen Aurelia, he does not get sexual on the first date. He no perverted comments. He's not trying to sleep with me. Also needs to be kind of not only to me, but the waiter as well. Okay, a lot of kindness to the waiter and stuff like that, but this is like advice for this particular person. I guess this is woman of Reddit, this particular person, but some people do kind of want to get sexual right on the first date, and you'd be kind of disqualifying yourself from the right person if that's what you wanted to do. Sarah the Galaxy Ghoul says, personally, I'm a sucker for a good joke. A funny guy goes a long way, but more dry humor than being obnoxious. If you're nice to me in the server, it's generally positive. I went on a date with a guy once who complained about how awful his sister was for about an hour. I get unloading your problems after a long day and partners lifting each other up, but a first date is not the place to shit on anyone else in your life. But be honest and have a good relationship with someone. I might ask you about is, don't go, yeah, my dad's a complete jerk because blah blah blah, and proceed with it for 15 minutes. I know someone has a dark side, but the first date is about putting your best foot forward, and if I like the best, I'll deal with the worst as it comes. Okay. So general positivity is a big one, I guess. Funny and smart. And if you have a trait that I think I like, don't be arrogant and over the top about said trait. Don't use big words if you feel like you're intelligent just to make yourself look good. I'll get that you're generally intelligent just from speaking to you over time. Don't try to bombard me. It really depends on the person, though. I can answer questions from a woman's perspective better than I could say one thing that would make he's a keeper. So it's all like chemistry type related stuff, like nothing in particular. Like, sad to say, I feel like a lot of this stuff is just like, hey, don't be rude, and nothing really specific. Like this guy's trying to be coached through it. So with the jelly beans, I would say, hey, woman of Reddit, what's something that guys do on a first date that ticks all the boxes? I've done a lot of online dating and trying to figure out like what works and what didn't work, like coffee dates, dinner dates, adventure dates, and just kind of seeing, like feeling it out what like statistically worked best for me. But it was always a date in the very beginning where we go to somewhere that's like neutral territory, like, hey, let's go to a coffee shop, see how we vibe, and then maybe we can do this other thing. So it's like, hey, let's meet each other. It's a very low time commitment. Like, hey, if we don't like each other in the first 10 minutes, we can split. There was no like big money loss. Like, we're not still waiting for the drinks at the restaurant or whatever, and we're not in the middle of nowhere. So it's like, hey, let's go to a coffee shop or ice cream parlor, meet each other, and if it's going well, we both can go to the next thing, like, oh, let's go on a hike, or let's go on an adventure, or something small, or whatever, once we already kind of get a good vibe in person with each other. All the other stuff about being nice and being attentive, that's a given or whatever. I feel like none of this was the advice that I was hoping that we'd be able to look at and kind of learn new things about. So my advice to you, though, is to subscribe down below to Decoy Noise. Look at that other video right there, but also comment on what type of topics you'd like me to cover on these AskReddit threads, if you want me to sort of dive into other stuff. I know I did a lot of the Am I the Protagonist threads, and those did well, but I feel like the more replies I got were for more AskReddit stuff. So let me know down below what you would like to see more of.